it is fantastic to be here this afternoon with the Music Learning Collective in Nottingham. I am Dan Francis, Head of Sales and Partnerships for RSL Awards for UK and Republic of Ireland. And I'm here with
Simon Brown, Director of Education at MLC.
Paul Hose, CEO, MLC.
Fantastic. So, as I said, absolutely brilliant to be here. So, could you just tell me and everybody else, who are the Music Learning Collective?
So we are MLC is a group of schools. Franchise model is governed by MLC Group at the top, and then each academy is dotted around. Bizarrely, the East Midlands. We have one in France, and we work with a school in Italy as well. And then we have this online presence called the Music Learning Collective, so which is powered by Marshall and RSL. So yes, we are a collective of teachers that share like-minded vision of standards and things that we want to achieve, and trying to impress upon our students that they are part of a bigger picture, part of a bigger school, rather than just having their lesson in silo and then see you next week. So we're trying to build a community, a collective in what we do.
So it's quite an appropriate name, really, then, on balance.
Yeah.
And are you based, obviously we're in West Bridgford, in Nottingham today. You're not just purely based here, though, are you?
No.
So we've got, so in terms of Nottingham, we're kind of obviously here, but also in the city centre. We've got a school or academy in Loughborough, Leicester, Derby, locally, and also one in Marseille, and a sister school in Turin.
And you mentioned Marshall in education, and you obviously mentioned RSL as well. So can you just explain what is Marshall in education, and how does that work with Music Learning Collective?
So Marshall approached us back in, when was it, January 2020.
Yeah.
They were being asked themselves by various suppliers, partners, distributors about what was Marshall's education offer. They didn't really have an answer for that at the time, and they approached us in January 2020 and asked us if we put a proposal together, what that looked like, or what it might look like. So we did, literally about a week before the pandemic hit, and they bought it. They were kind of interested. So we spent the last couple of years developing that kind of online platform. One thing that we were very keen to do was not necessarily what a lot of the competition were doing. So if you consider the online space of music education, it's quite crowded, but it is predominantly push content. So a lot of the other players within that field or arena kind of pushing stuff out that students can kind of watch, they can consume, but they often find themselves, and we know this from our own students because they subscribe to some of these platforms, that they'll kind of still come back and need a teacher. And so we wanted to kind of build something that would support the current MLC business model from the ground up, that we knew that would help our students. And that was really putting a teacher at the centre of that still. So with the platform, we've kind of got several levels of education that subscriptions that people can get onto at different price points. But fundamentally, the teacher is at the heart of all of those. So the student is getting feedback from us or from an MLC teacher at any point, any touch point with us on that platform. That's one thing that Marshall were very keen and encouraged by, because they liked. I mean, Jim Marshall, the founder of Marshall, was a drum teacher himself, and so part of their ongoing strategy really is to kind of support and nurture incoming talent. So I think our visions were aligned very, very closely with that, which was nice. So there was kind of didn't take any convincing from either side of can you just do this? Could it be more of this or more of that? And everybody kind of just got it on the table, which was great. So here we are today. We've kind of launched.
Yeah.
We kind of still feel we're at the beginning of what's going to be quite a long journey, hopefully, for all of us. But yeah, we're very much at the start of that journey, in the sense of we've launched with guitar, electric guitar, drums and music production. From Premier and Debbie up to grade 8. We're coming out with acoustic guitar very soon, and then we're going to build it. Obviously, we'll kind of bring the other disciplines on board, so piano, vocals, space. While we're doing that, we've also kind of bookended the whole concept, if you like. So we're appealing to the graded music exam kind of pool, if you like, and then at the other top end, we're doing the higher education diplomas as well. So level 4 and 6, creative enterprise, performance teaching diplomas with you guys at RSL. So we're catering for those. So there's this kind of real pathway. I often joke that we take people on, we try and encourage them all the way through grade 8. They do a diploma with us, they can end up kind of teaching for us as well. So they don't leave, basically.
Okay.
We try and kind of encourage them to stay, be a
Yeah.
part of that journey. So we end up giving them kind of work.
So you mentioned obviously that there's a lot of stuff out there. If people want to pick up a guitar and teach themselves, they might be able to pick up a YouTube tutorial or something like that. But you're more than that. You're about sort of, it's live online lessons, or is there more to it than that?
Yeah. So what we've done in terms of the platform, the way we built the platform is that we've recorded all of we basically digitised all of the RSL books. So they're all synced to an interactive player. So you can pause things, you can loop sections, slow it down without changing pitch. You can transpose it, you can do all sorts of things with it, which is amazing. What we've done as well is kind of video all of that. So we've got video performances of our teacher, Paul, playing all of those tunes, all the technical exercises, scales, the whole syllabus basically. And so there's a real visual aid there. They've got the backing tracks there, the interactive music player there. So you could log on and you could just do that in the sense of, and that is probably comparable to some of the other content in a way, in the sense that you're watching a video of somebody do something. So you're kind of learning by rote. You've also got the notation, the tap, and all that stuff there. But you can also submit videos of yourself either to our social channels or to the actual platform itself, which will be picked up by MLC teachers to give you direct feedback on specific things. And then obviously on the top tier of subscription, you're actually getting a one-to-one lesson with a teacher as well, a weekly lesson, which was important, I think, because one, people learn at different rates. People need, the needs of learners is very individual, and so we're appealing to different styles of learners. And it also opens, it makes it much more accessible on the lower tier. The tiers are loud, louder, and loudest.
Okay.
Because it's partial.
Yeah.
But on the louds, on the lower tier, as a price point, it is certainly comparable to some of the other platforms out there. But we feel you're kind of getting a much more structured pathway to your learning, which is one of the things we were really important. Rather than just kind of, it's not about playing the fastest lick or the best paradiddle as quickly as kind of whatever. It's more of a structured approach, as you guys know. That's kind of what you kind of bring to the table.
Yeah.
In that sense. So
Yeah. And I was going to ask actually, Paul, you'll probably get up nicely to answer this. Where does RSL Awards fit into it, and why rock school as opposed to anything else?
Well, I'll go in reverse.
Yeah.
So why? Because I think actually we share a similar vision, and I think that the two brands are more naturally aligned in the sense that we're looking at awarding people who are playing in contemporary arts, not just the classical space.
Yeah.
So and that's where MLC came from. We were wanting to provide a school for people that weren't learning or whatever. So in terms of why you guys rather than someone else, well, the pathways, the structure is really important. It's very modern. It's very forward thinking. You guys are as well as a team of people. It's an approachable organisation. Forward facing from the public as well. The literature is not too technical. Everything about it is approachable, friendly, inclusive, and we hope that so is MLC. So to marry the two together seemed like a no-brainer, and we're delighted that we could do that.
And you're not just a kind of like a channel in the way that it's a YouTube channel, for example. You're kind of like a virtual learning campus. And is that because you want to have that kind of collaborative, sort of interactive feel?
Yeah, I mean, just picking up on the point that Simon made a moment ago. It's in the school's name, isn't it? Collective. What we don't want is to have people accessing push content from us and feeling like they're on their own, you know, they just might need confirmation that they've got something right, or they might need steer or guidance into something else. So it's really important that they've got access to us. So the campus is an online learning environment, but it's not exclusively that. You know, there are opportunities where, you know, we bring the campus to life. You know, physically, certainly, you know, in Midlands at the moment, but in July, we'll bring the entire campus to life. So there'll be exams running, there'll be a gig running, there'll be, you know, you can meet teachers. So if you are one of the students online in this blended learning platform, you can come and meet us and ask questions and feel part of MLC, feel part of that collective, that what we stand for.
And it's an organic process. I mean, there's a huge amount of work in setting something like this up, right? And as you said, it's been a project that's been some time in the making. What's coming up is an organic growing process. So what can we expect to see next?
Imminently, we've got acoustic guitar syllabus launching. So we've got a great partner with Lag Acoustic Guitars, French brand. So they'll be supporting us with that. We then at the moment we've kind of launched in the UK. So with that launch, we'll kind of then open it up to Europe. We've got other launches, obviously US. We'll come China and the Far East. So we're kind of, as we're bringing more disciplines on, we're kind of rolling it out around the world as well. Obviously, there's a lot of complexity involved in that because there's the teacher element. So we can't just kind of take the curtains off and say, right, here we are, and actually, you know, think to support it. So we're going to be looking for affiliate teachers, and that's kind of a big part of the whole project, is that we want to be inclusive of the teaching community. So that's our message to any of us, and to anybody that's kind of watching this, is kind of, you know, do get in touch. Let's help you become a part of that collective, if you like, and come with us on that journey.
Nice. I was going to ask about that actually, because we work with a whole load of students that produce amazing stuff as part of the exams process, all the way through from Premier through to grade 8. And obviously, once they've gone through that grade 8 distinction process, I mean, what's next? What advice would you give to somebody that has done that, and then they're looking at their portfolio career and thinking that teaching might be part of it? Yeah. Any particular pearls of absolute wisdom you can give them, or just something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be that grade 8 is the end of the beginning. So you're very competent, extremely competent on your own instrument at that point. Now you need to develop the skills to communicate those ideas, either as an artist or as a teacher, or to learn the skills associated with running your own business. So diplomas is very important to us for those reasons. So, you know, go on to, I mean, you'll know this yourself. Being competent on your instrument, the skills required to teach, they're not mutually exclusive. You know, you might just need an entirely different skill set for that. So a teaching diploma would be advisable. Equally, if you want to develop yourself as an artist, then certainly look at the performance diplomas. But yeah, grade 8 is not the end. If anything, it's the launch pad into the creative industries, really. That's something that we culturally developed over the last 5 or 6 years, is that to make sure that our students and their families understand that grade 8 is not the end.
I think there's a point there as well, isn't there? Sometimes a misconception with students that they think once they've done grade 8, they could naturally then do a level 4 diploma without realising the journey between those two as well. There's a lot of development work to be done to get through that diploma, that level 4 diploma.
And with that, I would add to that as well, that whether you're a Premier or all the way through to level 6, the work that you produce is the end of the journey, isn't it? And students and teachers all, you know, need to, well, teachers need to work with their students to understand that. It is, if you put a grade 8 book in front of them, well, there's a journey from grade 7 to grade 8 before you sit the exam. That's the crux with the diploma. You download the syllabus, fine, sure, but there's a year's research in the teaching diploma, and work experience.
So in many ways, it's got, once you've done the grade 8, that's a demonstration of a certain amount of learning so far. And then there's a whole load more learning where you're going to be developing and adding new skills on top, which are as much about your technical ability on your instrument, your ability to communicate, but also your ability to, I guess, interact with others. Think about what your own role is going to be both within whoever you're working with, but also within the infrastructure of the working world. I suppose it might be you're going to go and be you want to go and be the next sort of superstar, or you're going to be a session musician, or you might do some teaching, or actually it might just be something you're going to do as a great hobby alongside other things as well, right?
Yeah, and I think artists, musicians, doesn't matter whether you're dancing, any art form, you're going to need to learn many secondary art forms. So podcasting, blogging, developing a brand, all of these things that will help you promote your primary art form. So our work with Marshall is telling us that they're getting lots of applications for endorsees because they view themselves as internet celebrities. So they're not even worried about going on stage, producing an album, going on tour. It's evolved. So I think the other pathways that you offer, that we deliver, so creative qualifications, vocational, as well as diplomas, actually really genuinely give people an opportunity to.
And obviously, the Music Learning Collective, you and your partnership with Marshall in Education, you've got your virtual learning campus, you've got your virtual lessons, you've got your virtual video tutorials. Is there a place for sort of live face-to-face learning now, or is it all about online?
No, I think there's always going to be a place for that one-to-one, face-to-face. People just like that. We've seen that ourselves through the pandemic. There's a certain pocket of our student cohort that just want that, and for whatever reason, which is great, and we support that with our current academy model. But I think what the pandemic has proven is that an online lesson doesn't have to be inferior to a face-to-face lesson. It's more about the teacher's approach, how they're set up, how well their audio-visual kind of setup is in terms of being able to communicate to the student. We found we've had some amazing kind of results from our teachers throughout the pandemic. I mean, the drum teachers, for instance, just that for a lot of them, it was the first opportunity for them to see the student set up at home. It was like, why are your cymbals at this angle? Just great on that front. So often you can offer different things as well as not being inferior. So,
and have you found that whether it's face to face or whether it's online, certainly with the learning platform that is there as an app, and with the Marshall in Education MLC thing, where you've got students that are having interaction with the teacher, then the content is there for them to access outside lessons in a blended learning environment. Have you found that has sort of sped up progress or improved the quality of learning?
We have. I mean, before the pandemic, probably like most teachers or institutions of our sort of model, we wouldn't have any interaction with our students between lesson times. Whereas now we're having interaction with them 3, 4, 5 times a week, and we also know from their, behaviour on the website what they're interested in. So, posting themselves performing tunes, accessing the library that's up there, or they are actually more interested and have more appreciation of what we're trying to do. The lessons themselves that they have through the platform, they're all recorded for safeguarding reasons, but also as an opportunity for them to essentially have that lesson over and over again. So they can, they can access us much more frequently than ever before. The pandemic gave us an opportunity to break through that barrier. But I don't think there'll be a time where distance learning will just push content at all. I don't think.
I think it's like with a lot of these things. I think you often get kind of people peaks and troughs in different movements because of something like the pandemic. But I think inevitably things find an equilibrium, doesn't it? There'll be a balance of both. That's very much what we're trying to build with this kind of platform. We can offer that online lesson, so it's not inferior, but also then support it with a kind of we call them hubs, aren't we? But essentially kind of a face-to-face gathering of people that will kind of, be exam centres, those sorts of like gigs, exams, talks, seminars, all of that face-to-face as well.
It sounds to me that at the heart of all of this, it's actually the role of the teacher in the process is key. And the teacher is the person that is going to take the student and take through that process, and kind of like the online resource is part of the process to facilitate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be clear, we're not trying to replace the teacher at all. We're actually trying to give them more resources, whether it's learning resources or instrumentation through the partners that we're working with, access to the industry, longevity in their career because of the professionalization of their own skills through the diplomas. We're actually trying to give them longevity.
Yeah.
The teacher is key to all of it. That can't be emphasized because the relationship that the teacher develops with their own cohort is key to even key to how often or how long they interact with us as a school. So it really is about, MLC is about giving teachers and the students a better experience, higher standard, but standardization as well. So I personally feel that, as a parent myself, if I want to phone up for guitar lessons for my kids when they were younger, it was a lottery. Everyone's website brilliant. Everyone, who's qualified? Who's taken safeguarding steps? So governance, the governance that we offer is a part of our brand. Standardizing the thinking, the pedagogical approaches of our teachers, so that if I'm ill one week, you pick up a lesson with Simon, well, that's okay, because you're studying at MLC, and MLC stands for something, rather than, well, I'll wait 2 weeks, or I'll stop because of what. No, you feel part of the collective, you feel part of your school, the school, rather than just having a lesson in silo. And that's why as well, working with RSL is really important to us, because it's an accredited pathway. So it's not just what we say so. There's an awarding body that's taking the journey with us.
Yeah, and we're part of that process where the student is just learning to really enjoy learning. They know they're getting a high quality experience, and then the assessment they get at the end of that is just, or part of that learning process. It is just a recognition that they've got to a certain level before they then move on to the next level, and it just keeps going. And then when they come out the top end, they do their professional diploma with you, and then they can go back and feed back into the whole process, right? That's the dream.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, we've done that with let's think, maybe nine of our current teachers have been students that have gone on to do diplomas that now teach for us, and they're developing their own careers with us. And anyone now, much like in your model, anyone who wants to work with us, we want either prerequisites or the ambition to achieve a certain standard, because that's important to us and what we're striving for.
And then the ambition can feed the aspiration, and so that students will pick up on that as well. So, final question: if people want to find out more about what you do, how do they get in touch? What's your website?
So it's musiclearningcollective.com is the website, the platform. They can email us at hello@musiclearningcollective.com. So yeah, it's probably the easiest way.
Fantastic, good, and look forward to seeing how things develop from this point on. Absolute pleasure. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We'll see you again soon.
So thank you.
Cheers.